the heartbreaking tale of a 6-year-old whose innocence was violently stolen by a teenage YouTuber.
Hey guys, it's Alicia. Today I'm going to show you all about pasta.
The incident brings our digital society's darker aspects to light.
With the conviction of a 16-year-old boy for the rape and murder of little Alesha MacPhail on a holiday island. The 6-year-old was abducted at knife point from her bedroom in her grandparents' home on the Isle of Bute. The judge told the killer, who cannot be named, that he had committed some of the most wicked and evil crimes his court had ever heard.
We acknowledge the devastating effect this tragedy has on every one of us as we journey through its tragic circumstances in this story. Stay focused, as this heartbreaking incident is no less than a cautionary tale and a wake-up call for internet users. Your involvement in this serious and important conversation is greatly appreciated. 6-year-old Alesha Sarah MacPhail was kidnapped and killed by 16-year-old Aaron Campbell on July 2, 2018. Campbell was charged with abduction, rape, and murder, and was found guilty after a jury found him. Guilty based on evidence, including CCTV footage, DNA, and fibers from his clothing. The case drew significant media attention in the UK, with the public's horror compounded by the perception of safety on the Isle of Bute and the character of juvenile murders given the young age of the perpetrator. The case drew significant media attention and attention to the Isle of Bute. So, what specifically did he do? Why was Alicia his target? What was the desire? Let's discover the tragic situations behind the scenes. Alesha MacPhail was born in Glasgow Royal Infirmary. Her mother, Georgina Loughrane, who turned 23 in 2018, and her younger sister Courtney, who turned 4 in 2018, shared a home in Airdrie, North Lanarkshire. She had just finished Primary 2 at Chapelside School, where she was enrolled when she passed away. A smiley and happy little girl. She loved being at school and enjoyed all aspects of literacy, in particular writing, according to her head teacher. Gymnastics and cake decorating were 2 of her favorite pastimes. 3 months into MacPhail's life, her parents got divorced, with her parents and girlfriend Tony McLaughlin, who was 17 years old in 2018, her father Robert, who was 26 in 2018, resided in Rothesay, the main town on the Isle of Bute. Every other weekend, Alicia would travel to see her folks. She went to live with her family in Rothesay for the 3 weeks of summer break from school on June 28, 2018, when she was 6. On May 7, 2002, Aaron Thomas Campbell was born in Shrewsbury, Shropshire.
I'm just here to talk. I'm first gonna start off with subscribers on YouTube.
When he was 4 or 5 years old, his family, father Christopher, mother Jeanette, and younger sister, moved to the Isle of Bute. Physical and mental abuse were part of Campbell's upbringing, and he and his alcoholic mother had many arguments. He had a history of self-harm and depression, and he was diagnosed with deficit hyperactivity disorder. Campbell went to Rothesay Academy and was well liked by his pals, who he frequently went to parties and drank alcohol with. He loved to play video games, was in good physical shape, and hoped to become a YouTube celebrity. He had multiple videos uploaded to the platform. Campbell started thinking about doing something excessive, like rape, when he was only 15 years old. He said that he might kill one day for the lifetime experience in a Facebook post from 2017. After being found to be intentionally causing fires, he was placed in a rehabilitation program. Tony McLaughlin, whom Campbell claims to have had a casual sexual encounter with in the winter of 2017, is adamantly denied by MacPhail. Campbell was familiar with both persons. He bought marijuana from them several times, but after a fight and Campbell's mother's involvement, they didn't communicate anymore at the beginning of 2018. 3 days into her summer vacation, on July 1st, MacPhail was put to bed in her room at her grandparents' seaside house while a Peppa Pig DVD was playing. McLaughlin discovered the girl was asleep when she checked on her at about 23. Like most things in Rothesay, the key was left in the front door. When 16-year-old Campbell invited 15 pals over to his house that same evening, he started drinking. Although the celebration ended before midnight on July 2nd, a friend discovered Campbell in bed and deemed him to be suicidal at 12:30. Campbell stated, I was quite upset as my mum had been arguing with me most of the night. Quite worried for him, the friend replied. Offering to stay over, Campbell turned him down, claiming he was going to get stoned. Robert MacPhail was among the persons he messaged, asking whether they were available to sell him cannabis. He called McLaughlin at 1:47 and 1:48 but got no answer. Campbell, armed with a kitchen knife, left his house at 1:54 to steal cannabis. After walking for around 5 minutes, he arrived at the MacPhail home, with MacPhail's room being the closest to the front door. Campbell sensed a moment of opportunity when he discovered the child asleep, and he subsequently claimed, "Once I saw her, all I thought about was killing her." He got sleepy MacPhail out of bed, took her for a stroll along the ocean shore, and left the house without anybody knowing.
You said that Alicia was drowsy and became a bit more awake when you went outside. At one point she asked who you were and where you were going. You said you were a friend of her father's and that you were taking her home.
When the youngster inquired who he was during this stroll while she was asleep in his arms, Campbell answered that he was her father's friend and was taking her home. After dragging MacPhail to a remote area, he sexually assaulted and killed her. He went home, had a shower, dumped his clothing into the water, and then came back to the crime scene to get his phone. On July 2nd, around 6 o'clock in the morning, Callum MacPhail discovered that his granddaughter was not in bed or the house. Her bike was still in the garden, and she had never gone away this way before. At 6:23, Alicia's grandma, Angela King, called the police, and the rest of the family started looking for Alicia and spreading the word about her abduction. King also appealed for assistance on Facebook, urging people to get involved. McLaughlin attempted to contact Campbell after noticing that he had missed calls. At 9:01, Campbell replied with 2 laughing emojis. Sorry does not matter. Upon being requested to watch out for Alicia, he wrote, "Oh no, I'm positive she hasn't gone too far, X." With the helicopter, Police Scotland initiated a search for Alicia. At 6:55, a volunteer Coast Guard started combing the shoreline and found the kitchen knife close to the MacPhail residence. The general populace also joined in large numbers. Jorge Williams, a local who had seen King's Facebook appeal, called the police at 8:54 to report that he had found Alicia's naked and lifeless body.
Her out of her bedroom and carrying her body all the way along the beach and up this hill, the 16-year-old left Alicia in these woods. She was found naked with her pyjamas lying beside her, and she sustained 117 injuries.
She was discovered 15 minutes walk from the MacPhail residence in a forested location on the grounds of an old hotel. Before being driven to Bute, Georgina Lochrain, who lived in Airdrie and was 70 miles away, was informed of her daughter's passing through King's Facebook page. It took 4 days for Gina to hold her daughter in her arms. In the interview, she said, "The trauma of losing in such a brutal and unimaginable way left her completely broken. That she wanted to join her in death. Her murder was bad enough, but subsequently discovered that she'd been that had never crossed my mind." I can't even think about it now. When I do think about it, I choose not to. Despite her refusal to accept the daughter's death, she tried in vain to contact Angela. That's not something she should have had to go through, so I can only imagine how she felt and what she would have been going through. On July 3rd, a post-mortem examination was carried out. According to the autopsy, MacPhail had 117 injuries, some of which happened while she was still alive, and some of which might have been brought on by vegetation. Her mouth and nose wounds suggested that someone had smothered her, while injuries to her neck and face suggested that someone grabbed her. She had catastrophic injuries to her genitalia. According to the pathologist's determination, her death was the result of significant forceful pressure to her neck and face. After the autopsy, Police Scotland launched a murder inquiry. Every available resource from across Police Scotland is being made available to this major investigation, said the local police commander, Chief Superintendent Hazel Hendren. Stuart Houston, the detective superintendent, successfully appealed to the public for information. The police searched the MacPhail residence, They also extensively patrolled Bute's streets and inquired from house to house. Several areas on the island also got sealed off as forensic specialists looked for proof. From the beginning, investigators thought the murderer was still Autopsy. Hundreds of people wearing pink attended Alicia's sorrowful burial, including her father and uncle. They carried her small pink coffin solemnly. Afterwards, Alicia's uncle gave a heartfelt ode to the child, calling her the most brilliant thing that had ever been. With great enthusiasm, he demanded that Alicia receive justice and that the monster who committed the crime be apprehended and punished. Aaron Campbell's mother, Jeanette Campbell, assisted in the initial hunt for Alicia. She examined the CCTV system outside her house in response to the police's request for information, and she discovered a film showing her son leaving and coming back twice during the hours the girl vanished. Aaron maintained that he did not know the matter when she questioned him about his whereabouts. Despite being satisfied with his answer, Jeanette still submitted the video to the police to allay any suspicions. As a potential witness, Aaron Campbell was first questioned by Detective Sergeant Stephen Hendry and Detective Constable Gavin McKellar. Without displaying any signs of fear or intimidation, he cooperated with the questions and stated that he had been purchasing and smoking cannabis. On July 4th, the police took him into custody on suspicion of murder and brought him to a police station in Glasgow, where he was asked no comment in response to every query. The next day, he was placed under arrest and accused of killing Alesha MacPhail and raping her. When he appeared at Greenock Sheriff Court on July 13th, he did not enter a plea. On December 10, 2018, Campbell appeared at the Glasgow High Court in connection with an indictment. He pled not guilty to the charges of Alesha MacPhail's kidnapping, rape, and murder. The detectives scheduled an inquest for February 2019, with Brian McConaughey QC representing Campbell's defense and Ian McSporran QC serving as the prosecutor. A second accusation of trying to thwart the course of justice was withdrawn during the trial. Throughout the ordeal, Campbell's identity was kept secret in the media because he was under the legal age of 18. Judge Lord Matthews presided over the trial, which got underway on February 11, 2019. The defendant could be seen leaving his home at 1:54 on July 2nd, returning at 3:35, and then leaving and coming back twice before 4:07, according to CCTV evidence that was shown to the court from cameras that Campbell's mother had installed. Publicly provided additional CCTV footage captured a person strolling along the shoreline between 2:25 and 2:26, looking as if he was holding something in his arms. Alicia appeared to have been carried, as pathologist John Williams states in his testimony, given her clean and undamaged feet. A fleece jacket, jogging pants, boxer shorts, a t-shirt, and a kitchen knife found on the beach following Alicia's death all belonged to her kid and were taken from the kitchen, according to Jeanette Campbell. Alicia's discarded pajamas had fibers from the trousers, and forensic expert Stuart Bailey stated that they detected the DNA matching on the beach wear. A DNA sample collected from Alicia's neck had a 1,000,000,000 chance of coming from anybody other than Aaron Campbell, he further affirmed. Alicia's face, 14 body parts, and her clothing all had DNA matches. A cybercrime specialist said in court that on July 3rd, Campbell searched for "How do the police find DNA" on Google with his phone and ended up on the page "Collecting DNA Evidence." Hours after Alicia's death, a 16-year-old girl testified that Campbell recorded himself and shared it with a group of 25 people on Snapchat with the caption, "Found the guy who has done it." In his defense, Campbell stated that he went out in the early hours of July 2nd and looked for his lost phone. Even though they didn't see the defendant that evening, two young guys claimed they received texts from him. In a so-called special defense of incrimination, Campbell claimed that Alicia's father's girlfriend, Tony McLaughlin, was the murderer. He testified that McLaughlin had slept with him in a garage the night before Alicia was slain, and he proposed that she killed Alicia and used a condom to smear his sperm on the child's corpse. According to a journalist for The Guardian, Campbell answered questions for 2 hours, offering explanations for the prosecution's evidence while appearing strikingly composed, unfazed and articulate. He denied ever having met Alicia in court and said, "Absolutely not," about his denial of her murder. "That is something I could never accomplish." He concurred that it would be evil to lay the blame on an innocent party. Although the prosecution accused McLaughlin of lacking the power to carry Alicia, who weighed 22 kilos, from her home to the murder scene, Campbell was able to confirm that he could bench press 50 kilos. The trial of a teenager, Alesha Campbell, resulted in a unanimous guilty verdict. Lord Matthews praised the evidence and deemed the crime some of the most wicked and evil crimes this court has ever heard of. Campbell remained emotionless, and a group of media outlets sought public identification. Lord Matthews reversed the naming restriction, a first in Scottish history. Campbell reappeared for sentencing, and reports revealed he had confessed to the crime in detail. He was sentenced to a minimum 27-year term, with reintegration and rehabilitation being unlikely.
Your sentence will run from 6 July 2018. You will be detained without limit of time, and I fixed the punishment part at 27 years.
Campbell managed to reduce his sentence on September 10, 2019, so he now has to spend a minimum of 24 years in prison instead of 27. He can ask for parole in 2042 when he turns 40. The judges agreed his first sentence was too much considering his age, but they didn't deny that he might never be released, as stated by Lord Matthews. Once he's 21, Campbell, currently in HM Young Offenders Institution Polmont, will move to an adult prison. Alesha MacPhail's murder in the UK sparked public outrage, leading to comparisons with James Bulger's 1993 murder. The crime occurred on the tiny Isle of Bute, a popular tourist destination. The trial revealed casual teenage drinking, sex, and drug use, revealing the reality of life on the island, where the population is declining and deprivation is growing. Local young people were offered counseling services to cope with the case. Such cases sound beyond terrible, especially to girls of young age. What is your take on this case? Do not forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Next time, see you with another case. Thanks for watching.